Hello everybody, this is my beginner's guide to Kate Bush, and this video is for anybody really. You could be a massive fan of Kate Bush already, or it might be that you've heard one song and you want to hear more but you don't really know where to start. Kate Bush is one of the most influential female singer-songwriters of all time. She started writing music at a very young age and was discovered by Pink Floyd's Dave Gilmour. I was always kind of aware of Kate Bush, like Wuthering was one of those songs that I can't remember the first time hearing that, you know? But I really got into Kate Bush myself when I was about 21. At the time, I'd just broken up with my long-term girlfriend. My best mate had broken up with his long-term girlfriend, and my other best mate had just broken up with his long-term boyfriend. And the three of us were just hanging out at my parents' garage all day, every day, playing Call of Duty and listening to Kate Bush. And it was a weird thing because my mate put it on, and for some reason, we couldn't be sad while it was on. It had this magical power, like it was kind of musically, it was very impressive, it was very beautiful, but it was also kind of funny and weird and like sort of childish in many ways. And I don't know, we'd like tried to listen to other music. It's like, should we put something else on? Another song would go on for 2 minutes and it'd be like, put Kate Bush back on, oh my God. And it's all we listened to for like 6 months. Kate Bush. Driving in the car, put Kate Bush on. Playing a game, put Kate Bush on. Having a chat, put her on in the background. We needed Kate Bush on. And honestly, it helped me through a really just a standard rubbish time in life, you know? But it was at that point I just started going through all her albums. I wanted to take in as much Kate Bush from all her different eras as I possibly could. So we're going to start by talking about her first album, The Kick Inside. Kate Bush was just 19 when she recorded her debut album, and it was released in 1978, February. And the record producer wanted to release a song called James and the Cold Gun as the debut single, and she argued her corner, which is an amazing thing to do as like a 19-year-old new into the industry, turning around to the label and going, no, we're going to release Wuthering Heights, this weird, high-pitched, ghostly, haunting song. That's going to be the hit. That's going to be the single. She knew, and everybody kind of thought she was crazy, but she went for it anyway, and it was massive. So if you've never heard The Kick Inside or never heard Wuthering Heights, I would advise starting out with Wuthering Heights. Unless you know that song very well and you want more from the album, the next song you should listen to is The Man with the Child in His Eyes. It's a beautiful, soulful, slow song that Kate Bush wrote when she was only 13 years old, which really shows the innate, natural, incredible talent that Kate Bush had from an early age, that she was writing things as complex and as beautiful as that song. So those are my two recommendations. If you want to listen to The Kick Inside, start out with those two songs and then jump into the album. Later in the same year, she released Lionheart. Now, I think this was pushed a little bit more by the label. Off the back of the success of the first album, they're like, we need more, let's make more money. And I think I read that Kate Bush had mixed feelings about the process of making this album, and you can kind of tell. Like, to me, Lionheart feels like a bit of an extension to The Kick Inside. It almost doesn't feel like a different album to me in a way. It's kind of more of the same, but doesn't quite have the same great hits in the way the first one does, which happens all too often in the music industry. You know, you get a band or an artist and they write this amazing first album, and the record label comes along and goes, all right, you've got 6 months. Write another one. So, well, we've been writing this for the last 5 years, this first album. Yeah, do one better. You've got 6 months. Happens all the time. And that's why the second album of so many artists is always just after the first one. Still, this is not a bad album by any means. I'm not saying that. And if you want to get into this album, I would recommend listening to the song Wow. Fantastic song. For her third album, 2 years after the release of Lionheart, we have Never Forever. Now you can tell that more love was put into this album. It's more creative, it has more hits on it, you know, it's more of a complete album. There's no filler on this album, it's just great song after great song. My favourite song of all of these, and probably the most well-known off this album, is Babushka. Check out Babushka, it's incredible. And a fun fact about this album, this was the first album for a female British solo artist to go to #1. 2 years after Never Forever, we have my favourite Kate Bush album, The Dreaming. Now, why is this my favourite Kate Bush album? Firstly, it's the first album that she produced herself. So she had full creative control of what came out. And what came out was really, really, weird, right? And it's great and it's fantastic and it's beautiful, but it's weird and unapologetic. There's a very big influence from Peter Gabriel and his kind of production, a lot of like real sounds, a lot of cars crashing and alarms and clattering and all kinds of Foley going on, like in a film, you know, it's much more cinematic. And this was the first album I really got into because it made me laugh. Like she'll be singing and then suddenly over the top, some car is just like, meow. It's like, what was that? One of the craziest songs on there is called Get Out of My House, and she really screams on that one. It's awesome. If you haven't heard any of the songs from this album, I would start with, and this might be a controversial one, I would start with Suspended in Gaffer. That was the first one I heard off the album, and at first I was like, this is too weird. And over time, I got addicted to it, and I fell in love with it, and it's still one of my favourite Kate Bush songs. The second it comes on, I'm smiling, I'm happy, no matter what's going on in life, that song will always be there for me, and maybe it can be there for you too. So check out Suspended in Gaffer, and you might listen to it and be like, what do you mean? Or you might be like, oh yeah, no, I get it. Following the Dreaming, her fifth album, The Hounds of Love. Now, this album has been very big recently because there is a hit single on there that you may have heard of called Running Up That Hill. And yeah, it's one of her greatest songs. It became really popular in 2022 with Stranger Things. And I'm hoping there's a lot of people who kind of got into Kate Bush from that who are coming to this video now and are like, yeah, I only know that song. Okay, this video is for you. These are the other songs you should check out, okay? Off the album as well, there's like The Hounds of Love itself, the title track, really, really great song. The first time I heard that song, it was a cover by a band called the Futureheads, and that is also a really, really good interpretation of that song. I would check out indie band from the mid-2000s, the Futureheads, check them out. In 1989, she went in a different direction again with the Sensual World. Now this one is a very beautiful album that it's more one you want to put on if you want to have a bit of a cry, in my opinion. There's a little bit more kind of emotional depth to it, particularly the song This Woman's Work. If you're not moved by that song, there is something fundamentally wrong with your like biological makeup, all right? This Woman's Work, best song off the album. Themes generally covered in the album is like literature, mythology, femininity, and sensuality. And in we come to the 90s. In 1993, we have the album The Red Shoes. Now, there's a lot more songs on this that'll kind of make you move a little bit more. There's a lot more upbeat kind of stuff going on. Particularly Eat the Music is a really cool track. It's a nice, like, quite a light, you know, fun bit of music. And there's also, in the same vein, there's Rubber Band Girl. And I would probably suggest that or Eat the Music to be the first ones to check out from that album as an entryway into that album. They're a lot of fun. Very 90s, very of its time. But as with all Kate Bush music, it's brilliant. After The Red Shoes, Kate Bush took a long break from the studio. And she came back in 2005 with the album Aerial. Another kind of strange album in a way, like really, you could really tell that she was doing Aerial for herself. There's a lot of very personal songs on there, like Bertie about her child, and pi, like pi as in square root of pi. She sings like 100 digits of the decimal places of pi, but it works. You know, I feel with Aerial that she kind of like almost set herself a challenge in a way. And it's like, can I sing about anything and make it wonderful? And the answer is yes, she can. And the instrumentation in this album is really nice. She brings in a lot of like lutes and sort of the more medieval instrumentation. There's a total freedom in it, in lyrical content, in instrumentation, in genre, feel, in every way. It's free as a bird, Aerial. And if you want to get into it with an accessible track on there, I would recommend King of the Mountain. Really cool, really nice production on that track. Director's Cut is considered an album, but really it's a rework of her last two albums. So I'm not really going to count this, but definitely worth checking out. if you want to take that step further after listening to those albums and you want to go a little bit deeper, there are some changes in it, and the production's enhanced a bit. But in the same year, she released 50 Words for Snow, 2011. Now this album is very avant-garde. A lot of spoken word, poetry. It even features Stephen Fry doing a reading. The instrumentation is very soft, a lot of piano, it's very beautiful. The themes revolve around winter and snow, and the song I would recommend checking out is Snowflake. She released a very charming music video of an animation of like this shrew, which accompanies the music really, really nicely. I would say out of all the albums, this is probably the least accessible, so you really have to be a fan, I think, in order to appreciate this album. You know what I mean? This is not the first album I would recommend to a first-time listener of Kate Bush. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying I don't like it, it's absolutely wonderful, it's beautiful, but it involves a certain mood you have to be in, and a certain amount of investment to commit to kind of getting into that frame of mind and going on that journey. If you find yourself in that state of mind, I would say it's well worth that journey, and so you should definitely check this album out. Overall, really, if you were going to check out 3 albums, I would say Never Forever, The Dreaming, and The Hounds of Love. Those 3 albums are going to keep you busy for a very long time, and they're going to keep you happy for a very long time, if you're anything like me. They're wonderful. There are so many songs, and a few honorable mentions of songs. If you don't want to go into like albums at all and just want like, just give me random Kate Bush songs to listen to, what should I listen to? Kate Bush is an amazing dancer and all-around creative, so her music videos, some are quite dated, but generally there's a lot of beauty in them, and they, I don't know, for the full Kate Bush experience, don't just listen to it, watch the music video. Okay, so I would check out Army Dreamers, I would check out Cloudbursting, Breathing, and definitely check out And Dream of Sheep. It's absolutely, it's another one of those ones that will make you cry. And the video to it is actually, she recorded the video in cold water, so it affects the way she sings, and her in-breaths, there's a shakiness to it, which gives this vulnerability and this like, this whole feeling. Check out the video, And Dream of Sheep. Beautiful. What's your favourite Kate Bush album, or song, or music video, or anything? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more content. Would you like me to do more of these videos? Because there's a lot of artists that I'm really, really passionate about that I would be happy to do breakdowns of albums, of singles, and just these nice general overviews, beginner's guides for people who want to get into a band. Maybe you've like always heard of the Pixies but never checked them out. I could make a video giving you some songs and music videos to go and look at. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I hope you enjoy Kate Bush. Peace and love.